if you're going to go to a gold standard, the most realistic path would be to issue just a small amount of treasuries whose interest is payable in gold on demand if you want it. And so that would create an anchor mechanism, and that would give the federal government a little bit more control over long-term interest rates, because the Federal Reserve really has no control over long-term interest rates aside from quantitative easing, and even that is questionable as to whether or not it's effective. But CPI, I guess that's where we're going with this.
Sure. Yeah. We had CPI numbers come in hot last week, a little hot, hotter than expected, which led to some kind of volatility in the market. So, the core inflation rose a little bit year over year, or month over month rather. But it's kind of
both year over year and month over month,
in line with previous increases, which would suggest maybe that it's sort of stabilizing or moderating itself. But there was a lot of talk about the neutral rate too. It's one of the things that I kind of brought up. There was a post from Nick. I'm going to figure out how to say his name.
Timiraos.
He comes up a lot on here. Timiraos. Nick Timiraos. It's the Wall Street Journal reporter that reports a lot about the Federal Reserve. All right. Yes. So we had to pause, but we're back. So picking up from the neutral rate. So we had Nick Timiraos from the Wall Street Journal give some commentary from Jay Powell, who's the Federal Reserve chairman, that his idea of the neutral rate being very clearly low before the pandemic, and it's likely that after all of this, the neutral rate will have risen meaningfully. And so our consensus is that we have to assume that he's okay with some sort of higher rate than what they have been saying for like a year now, which is 2%. And they're harping on this 2%, 2%, 2%. Everybody's heard of this. So now that he's kind of acknowledging that maybe it's not going to be 2%, maybe it's higher than that, I think that's a positive sign. I think it's constructive because, again, to your point, it's a difficult thing to say what the neutral rate is. But, then you have on the other side Trump, who wants the neutral rate at 0, which I don't think is necessarily a great idea either. So there's like a happy medium here where you have to kind of figure out what the best case scenario is.